Hello, is this Warrior?
Yeah, this is Mr. Presents.
I'm glad to be in contacting you. This is IRS, and we are to inform you that you are behind on payments.
Behind on what payments?
If you do not respond within 3 days and send Apple gift card to this address, we will be sending police for you.
Under what jurisdiction?
Under IRS, if you do not give Apple gift card, we will come for you.
Apple gift card is all it takes to get rid of the IRS?
Yes, you must get 3 of $60 each.
Can I just give you a credit card number?
No credit card number. Must be Apple gift card.
Okay. Well, I have an Apple gift card with me, and I have the alphanumeric code on the back. Can I just give that over the phone to you?
No, you must send to this address now.
Okay, well, I have the alphanumeric code. If you take it down, you're going to get this Apple gift card. This Apple gift card's huge. It was a gift from my grandma, and it has $1,000 on it. Hopefully, this will take care of the IRS. The alphanumeric code on the back is BITEME.
I didn't do my best Abu boys, but I guess it might be a little offensive. Sorry.
I'm back. Guess who's back? Wop, wop, back again. Wop, wop. JD's back. Wop, wop.
Tell your friends?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's been a bit of a busy period of time. I apologize, everybody who wants fresh content but isn't getting it from my channel. Been working about 2 weeks straight. I did go to Kansas on a personal trip. My father had passed in November, and we finally got an opportunity we actually buried his ashes this weekend. So we went there. It was very therapeutic. It was very good. I was with my sister and my brother and my stepmom, and it was a good weekend. It really was. I got a few things from his house. This ball cap was when he was from in the Air Force. I feel blessed to be able to get the only Air Force ball cap for when he was in.
Stylish too.
Yeah, it actually was really good condition, and it was when he was military police. This is his military police ball cap, so pretty cool. Definitely happy to be back. Last week was the 1 week I couldn't miss streaming because it was when I turned level 85 and I started Grand Arenas and I get 7-star R2D2. And of course, it's the 1 week where I had absolutely no time to do any videos whatsoever. So anyway, apologies to everybody, but we're back. I've got SureShot with me today. He's going to be How good neighbor. He's going to be taking on the comments today. So if you have comments, that's fine. But if you actually have a question for SureShot, put at SureShot, for him, tag him. And then if it's for me, tag me. He will try to throw those comments or questions to me when we get a chance in between. I kind of want to start at ground zero, go through the roster, show you what I've got, where I'm at. You can see my crystals or over 1,000. I have been placing top 5 in regular arena and number 1 in ships now for a while. And I have been spending pretty much all my crystals for development, but it is feeling really, really good. My geos are paying off. In fact, I pretty much never fall out of the top 5 in ships now. And it takes like 1 battle a day to get back to number 1. Those geos are smoking. So let me go ahead and go through the roster, kind of show everybody where I'm at. We are going to go into Grand Arena. I already did my battles yesterday because I'm a moron and didn't wait for today, but we'll go through and I'll show you the Grand Arena and where I'm at. In fact, let's do that now. I think that's going to be really fun. We'll come over here to Grand Arena and we're going to go back in time and look at the last couple of days because I'm sure everybody wants to know how I did. So
Let's have a look at the standings.
Yeah.
What's your roster looking like, Lynn?
Yep. So the first was this against Jay. And if we go in to Jay, hey Jay, hey.
Is he part of the Men in Black?
Yeah, something like that. So he set defenses. They were good. I think he was probably his best teams, and I did beat them. And he did not make an attempt. So he was one of those guys that set defenses and didn't make an attempt. This is what I had set on defense. I went with synergy, and I had to give myself some offensive teams. So I went with bounty hunters, rebels, and Imperial troopers as the 3 teams for defense. And I didn't know how many teams I would even have to set, but that's 3 teams for offense, 3 teams for defense. That's 6 teams. At my
aren't looking too shabby for this level.
I know at my level, this is very difficult. And then, of course, I set a rebel fleet with my really mediocre Houndstooth, which I didn't have 2 weeks ago.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I didn't even have Houndstooth. So this is really exciting. I had the ship. I just didn't have the character. But I finally got Bosk farmable, and I started to farm him. And so pretty awesome. So this one was kind of a give me. Obviously, he set defense, but I didn't have much of a pushback, so all I had to do was win some. The second one was better. In fact, it was very close. I won again, and it came down to full clears on both sides. I used the same teams. He used, he had this team on defense and had his best arena team on offense, so he went offense heavy for himself. And then over here, he put Night Sisters, which I was kind of surprised to see. The middle team was kind of wimpy. And then the bottom team, surprisingly, some pretty decent characters, exposes and stuff. It's not really built phenomenal, these 3 teams, but
an interesting mixture there.
But I knew he was leaving himself all of his offense. And so he cleared me. I got 967, and then I went after him, and I got 976. So I won by 9 points, and that was through efficiency. So that was really good. Basically trying to get 60s, 60s each time on the battles. And then the last one is this Itachi, and we're about to battle in 5 hours. I have the same defense as I've had. He's going to see it here in a couple hours anyway. And I don't know what he has set yet, but I'm pretty confident I'll be able to get a full clear. It'll be a matter of whether I'm more efficient than him or not. So I guess we're going to find out. It's pretty good. If you go under event, you'll see he actually has a higher GP than me because they level this up by your wins. And then when there's a tie on wins, it goes by GP. So he actually has a larger GP by about 100,000, and he's actually heavier on character GP and lighter on ships GP. So, but they count both because this has ships and characters. So It's going to be tough. He's got a significantly better roster than me, and if he went defense heavy, I won't be able to clear him. So, because I don't really have 3 good teams on offense. I don't. I have 1. I'm using my Geos on offense. That's how, that's...
Well, hopefully he'll take a couple of turns on them then.
However, my Geos are gear 11. So, I mean, my Geonosian soldier's hitting for 15K and calling an assist. So, I'm doing okay there.
There's the imbalance.
Yep, but he's got a higher GP, and it's lopsided to characters. So we'll see how that goes. Let's look at the characters. Sunfac, I'm still trying to get to gear 11 for ships. Colonel Stark, Veers, Tarkin, Trooper, Vader. What I was doing was I was just trying to get as high as I could for R2-D2. And so they were in my favorites, and I've been hustling them. Range Trooper and Vader were both 90 of 90 yesterday, 2 days ago. And I was like, who's going to be first? Who's going to be first? I was hoping, and the event ended last night for R2-D2, and Range Trooper beat Darth Vader by 5 shards. And so I went in with Range Trooper, and I'll be honest, I'm really, really glad it was Range Trooper and not Vader. And this is why I don't have Emperor Palpatine at 6 or 7 stars, and I don't have Vader at 7 stars. And Range Trooper was the singular reason why I was able to get R2-D2 7 stars with such low gear 7, gear 7, gear 7, gear 7, gear 8, gear 8, and gear 8.
He's a surprising MVP of the stage.
Yes, and he gives that retribution, and so if you can survive the initial onslaught, he throws up that retribution. He dances, and he throws up that retribution. And he's actually activating his boots, but it looks like he's doing the dance.
He's tap dancing.
Yeah, it looks like he's tap dancing. And when he does the retribution, they hit you, and of course, everybody retaliates. And it was the only way I was able to clear it. If I could get that retribution up, I won. If I couldn't get it up, I couldn't win. So it really came down to making sure Range Trooper A stayed alive and B was able to use that ability. So pretty cool. I got R2-D2 yesterday, a few hours prior to the event, using... Yep, using, of course, let's go and show my Empire only. We'll isolate them using Colonel Stark. I actually ran Veers as the leader. Veers is the better lead of all of these, in my opinion. So I went Veers as the leader, Stark, Tarkin, Trooper, Range Trooper, of course, and then Thrawn. And Thrawn's in my arena team, and so he didn't have to change mods. I took my mods off of my other 4 on arena, and my arena mods are okay. I mean, there's no 6E mods or anything like that. I mean, I've been putting my very best mods on my arena team, of course. And so I pulled, and so I pulled those off. Stark got my Bastila mods because Bastila has my fastest mods, so I put them on Stark. I put Yoda's, because it's offense, on Range Trooper in hopes that he would do a lot of offensive damage. And then Old Ben went to Tarkin to try and make Tarkin kind of fast. Old Ben's got a decent speed. And then whoever's left, I can't even think. Ezra. Oh yeah, Ezra went to Veers because Veers and Ezra are both damage dealers. So I was like, that'll work. And then I swapped him back, of course. So that was it. I got him 7 stars. I was pretty excited about that. Very difficult battles. I had to do 5 battles to do it, and 5 battles may not sound like a lot, but I know what I'm doing. So if it's either possible or it's not, you know what I mean? So I gave it a couple attempts for RNG, and as sure as day it was RNG making sure that Range Trooper stayed alive. If we look at the characters for development though, you'll see I got him level 85. Their gear, he's 8. I only Omega'd 1 on him. That was scan all wavelengths. And the reason is, for this one, Empire allies gain critical damage up for 3 turns. Now, that's a buff. Not only is it a good buff, but the getting buffs is good for this team because it turns into turn meter. So that one, I was like, okay, I can't do a bunch of Omegas. What can I do? Anything that gives turn meter, manipulates turn meter, helps with turn meter, those are the ones you do. And then Veers, I actually had 3 of them. I have his basic, which provides more damage, and that 30% speed up chance. I have his Ruthless Assault, which added damage, and ability block chance was increased, and his leadership was maxed out. It added additional offense and turn meter whenever they gain a buff. So it says they gain 10% turn meter when they gain a buff. That's why I did the one on Stark that I did. And then with Tarkin, I only have his abilities at like 5 and 6 for the most part. I just didn't really put much energy into him. He's still at gear 8. Yeah. So, yep. And then here I was at 6 all the way across. I went ahead and took power in numbers to 7. And then steady was the one that I actually was like, this was the difference. I didn't have it, couldn't win. Throughout the week, 6-star. I couldn't even get close to 6-star. As soon as I had this, I was able to 6 and 7-star it. All Imperial troopers recover 30% protection, huge on regeneration, right? And gain retribution. Not only is it a buff, so it turns into turn meter, but retribution allows for them to retaliate, causing additional damage when you're not up turn meter wise. So that was a huge sway in the battle. And then of course, let's see who else was on this team. Who's missing? Oh, Thrawn. That's right, because he's in my arena team. And of course, Thrawn, I have, other than his 2 Zetas, I've got him Omega'd out and gear 9. I wish I had him higher gear-wise.
What? No Zetas yet? Jeez.
He's pretty difficult. And I only have 1 Zeta. By the way, I got a Zeta in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Finally, and I was able to Zeta her leadership. And I will tell you what, it is key. I am top 20 when I wake up most days, and it's very easy to climb into the top 5. I get like 4th place, a lot of times 4th or 5th. So I'm able to get into that top 5. Let's see where I'm at right now. I have no idea. So 29 and 2. Ships.
I don't like those CEOs too much.
Yeah, ships, I'm in 2nd place. That's great. And then for arena rank, I'm 29, and that's actually not terrible. Top 30, and I haven't done a single battle yet, so pretty awesome. And you can climb pretty good from there. What else about my? Let's see. Oh, I aside from them, I'm still working on Biggs and Wedge, both for just a rebel team, also for their ships. Also because they're like the OP original gangstas when it comes to synergy. Kylo Ren for ships, for dark side ships. R2D2 for gear. Jango Fett for Jango Fett and Bosk's ships, the Hound's Tooth. Dengar, because he's bounty hunters, I'm trying to get him started up and geared up, because bounty hunters are a great defensive team for territory wars and Grand Arena. And that's what I have to start thinking about now, is like all these 90 billion jillion teams I'm going to have to develop. Jolie Bindo is a side project. He's not only Jedi, but he's going to be needed for Revan, of course. And then, of course, Luke Skywalker's in here because he's my he's one of the Cantina farms that I'm working on. I'm kind of going star by star, so I take a character up to the next star, and then I move to another character. I'm doing a couple of them at the same time. And then you can see down here, I've got Bosk 2-star. I barely unlocked him. I'm working on my 3rd star. And I haven't put him in ships yet because he's just way too easy to kill. But I've got, the rest of the characters looking pretty decent. You can kind of see where I'm at with the development on these guys. And Cassian's U-Wing is starting to become more of a forefront thought. Whoops, Princess Leia. Starting to star her up because I've got the currency for that now. Speaking of that, let's just bounce over to the pillar system really quick and we'll look at it. So in pillar 1, Sabine I'm still working on. Range is done. Veers is done. Talia I'm still working on. Hera, Ezra are done. Kira and Kylo are about halfway. For the guild store, I'm actually done with Stark and moving over to Dengar. With the Cantina store, both of them are done, and I moved over to First Order Officer. With the Squad Arena store, both of those are done. I've moved over to both Leia and Stormtrooper Han. With the Galactic War store, both of those are done, so I've moved over to Captain Phasma and Biggs. I've unlocked 7-star for Pillar 1. So I'm basically done with all of Pillar 1 with the exception of Talia, still a side project. Still farming her a little bit. She's at like 6 stars. Still have Sabine. And then I still have 2 Cantina that I need to finish off. So I've got 4 characters I haven't completely finished off, but the rest of Pillar 1's completely done other than those 4. In Pillar 2, I'm working on, of course, I'm done with the top dark side. I'm over to Jolie. And then in light side, of course, I'm still chewing on a light side from Pillar 1, so I haven't quite transitioned to those 2. Old Ben's done. Luke I'm working on. And the other 2 First Order I haven't quite started yet. And then Dengar I'm working on. First Order Officer I'm working on. The 2 in the Squad Arena store I'm working on. And the Galactic War store I'm working on those 2. I've unlocked R2-D2 7 stars. And I've got Yoda 6 stars. So I'll get him the next time he comes around. So the next 2 I'm kind of working on are going to be the Rebels for CLS, which he's come and gone, so it's going to be a few months, and BB-8, which will be the First Order. But I do need to kind of wrap up the last couple characters from Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 before I move into Pillar 3. So you guys know this is 3 months in, well, a week past 3 months, and I'm basically, if I was 100% on Pillar 1, I'd be done with all of it. And I'd be well my way into Pillar 2. So you can see there's about a 3-month development per pillar, which means that there's going to be, and there's slowly less and less characters as we go to the right. There's fewer and fewer characters as we go to the right. I drop a character requirement per pillar, so they're approximately the same time. So you're looking at about 15 months or about a little under a year and a half to do all of the farming guide. A year and a half to be basically where you need to be is, I think phenomenal. So it's not too bad at all. So anyway, let's get back into the dailies and start playing and stuff. Whoops. They're having they're just chatting it up.
What's going on here? What's important? Nothing's important. Never mind. Moving on.
I'm going to give you a chance to kind of look in comments and stuff. I'm going to start doing some dailies and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did see one question pop up that I did find a little interesting. Somebody who had asked, for me personally, as a free-to-play player, did I feel that the new characters and the new focus is a little bit more pay-to-play? And yes, obviously, when it comes right down to it, this company is looking to make money, and there's a few times where I feel like they do some blatant cash grabs, but I think with this situation, I almost feel like they're trying to separate out the fields a little bit. I feel like as a free-to-play character or player, you'd want to probably focus a little bit more on like territory wars as being like the back wall defense, somebody who can kind of help do cleanup in the end when your more powerful guys get up there and take out the wall or whatever and take out the Revan teams and the Darth Revans and all that. you would be more suited to go and take out the leftovers in like the Phoenix Squads, the First Order, the kind of leftover teams like that. So focus more on those particular teams that would help you be more help to your guild, as opposed to feeling like you need to be a front lines guy if you're somebody who's a little bit more lower GP like I am. And for Arena, just I feel like I've gotten more used to the idea that in the top 1,000, top 500 is more where I'm going to be hanging out more, because I'm running into so many Darth Revan, Jedi Knight Revan teams that it's like not really feasible for me to go up against them yet. So I would say at that point, just get more comfortable with something that's a little bit more back lines, a little bit lower level, not as high in the arena. Because unfortunately at this point, if you've been playing in that 2-year range like I have, you're getting to be a little bit more limited in what you can pull off in that area. Let's see, who else we have here? Ryan Fruge asks, Warrior, should I focus on some teams for Grand Arena?
If you're now available at level 85 for Grand Arena, you now have to determine 6 teams that you've been sort of semi-developing. For my pillar system, I've kind of showed you guys what you should have developed by this point and what you can use. I'm using my Jedi team on offense. I'm using my Geos on offense. And I'm using a hodgepodge of what's left kind of for my third offense, which is tough. For now, on defense, I have an Imperial Trooper / Empire team. I've got my bounty hunters. What's done with them, by the way, you should have had them done in Pillar 1, so you can get credit heist and things like that. So there you go.
You're following along correctly.
Yeah, and then my third was Rebels, because I've got, not only do I have Phoenix, but I also have Admiral Akbar, which naturally gets developed, and your Biggs and Wedge from ships. So yeah, there's those teams, and you should absolutely start once it's available. You should have a plan on your offense and defense, and then you'll slowly evolve them into better defensive teams and better offensive teams as you develop and grow. But you got to start somewhere.
Always need to have a good starting point, and it's good to get some advice as to where you should go with that. Because I think, like me, if I was just going to start this game on my own without your help, I would have just been going, I don't know, I like these guys. Let's see who else here. Warrior and SureShot, do you think that, let's see, is that probably Galactic Republic and Separatists will get an overhaul soon? Andrew SS8 asks.
They said they would.
It's been talked about. I know that there's been a few guys.
They announced it.
Okay.
The first Galactic Republic is going to be, Anakin is getting a kind of a touch up. General Kenobi's getting a touch up, and Ahsoka is getting a major overhaul, and her kit is now insane.
Ooh. Kind of gives me hope for the fact that I've got her pretty well geared up at this point, but never had a use for her. So that's nice to know. I know they've been talking about Padme as well. I don't know if that's a possibility or just kind of hearsay.
From what I understand, the developers kind of leaked that at the Star Wars Celebration. Apparently, told people about it coming, so it is a thing apparently. And so yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna try and kill. He's got a Zeta Jolie.
Ooh my! Interesting at this level of your particular shard, and he's only a level 83. Ironically enough, I just Zeta Jolie. Let's see here. Oh, looks like a couple questions just got buried in the mix there. We'll get back to them. Let's see here. Something real quick that I can answer while you're busy there. Let's see. What do I think about the Zeta coming for GK? I like it. I especially like the fact that when I first unlocked and got decent geared and actually got a full 7-star GK, it was right about the time that everybody was just like, oh, hey, great job. Too bad he's a worthless character now. And it's like, oh, yeah, dang, at that point, he wasn't meta anymore. He had a little bit of a lull there, and then suddenly Jedis came back, and Jedi Knight Revan and all that, and next thing you know, GK again. So that was a huge benefit for me because I was just like, yes, it wasn't a wasted effort. Just finally got into the point where I could actually do the raids to get his shards, and then all of a sudden it just went for a second there. So it was a nice little pick-me-up to see him move up into the meta again. And with a Zeta, I really like the idea of that because I think he is one of the most powerful characters without a Zeta at the moment, right?
Who?
GK, Space Jesus.
Yeah, General Kenobi is definitely the best all-around, all-purpose tank in the game. Has been since his inception, and he's come and gone throughout the entire metas.
Mm-hmm. Nice to see those raid characters actually being viable still, because those are the ones I feel like you need to work so hard to get, and then suddenly if they don't become viable anymore, it's like, what the heck, Capital Games? You just really maybe go through all that work for nothing.
Speaking of raid characters, don't let me forget to show my raid characters because I'm about to get raid Han unlocked.
Nice.
Finally, after 3
The
months.
OG himself, or as I like to call him, shoot first Han. Let's see here. Who else? What else? What do we got going on? Who's curious? We're all curious, aren't we? Let's see here. About something, nothing in particular. Don't go there. But I went there, didn't I? Anyways. Warrior presents, is it possible to make last tier of CLS without Omega on Bullseye?
Yeah, anything's possible. I think bottom line, it comes down to mods. If you have really great arena mods and you move them over to that team, a lot more is possible. I think, goal for everybody is going to be gear 9 with pretty much most of the Omegas on the team. And bottom line, you'll end up using them in, Territory Wars Grand Arena. But I know a lot of people that did it without, some miscellaneous Omegas. And they did it either by raising their gear level up a little, or they did it by putting a little better mods on those characters. Bottom line, mods are gear. It's just gear is fixed mod stats and mods are variable gear stats. They're the same basic thing. It's just mods are like, so if you need more speed, you're not high enough to get more of the speed from the gear, you can put that speed on through the mods. So they kind of complement each other and do exactly the same thing for the character, which is overall stat boosts. So if you can't get the gear up to gear 9 or 10, you can modify it with good enough mods that make it basically gear 9 or 10 through modding.
And then somebody wants to know, what leader are you using with your Geo tunes in Grand Arena, Territory War, Territory of Battle, so on. Also farm Geos for ships, but don't really know what to do with them without the Geonosian leader farmed.
All right. I hear what they're saying. Where is it where we go in and we can look for our squads? I can't even. Oh yeah, you come over to characters. I'm like, man, I can't even remember this. So there's my arena team. Yep, not a whole lot unique there. I'm going to give away my offense and defense, but it's okay because I'm going to be changing it very often. So offense. Yep. So for offense, I have my arena basically under my arena team minus Thrawn because Jedis are pretty strong. Even though I'm only using a Gear 8 Kanan, it works really, really well to shoot through a defensive team. And then I put Thrawn because, Thrawn's a leader and there's really no Geo leader that's worthy in my opinion. And so I use Thrawn. He boosts himself, basically allows him to kind of self-cleanse and stuff. So
I would say it also depends on the Territory War bonuses they give you at that point, because Geonosians were pretty boss for a little bit.
Yeah, when we get bonuses, I can switch things around. But then I put Hera in there because this is another one of my high-end teams, and if I'm going against a really tough team, there's a chance I might lose someone, and so she can bring them back through revive. And then my weak team that I have, it's kind of the only other thing I have built, kind of an Empire team, so to speak. I've got Empire for the first 3. And then I put in Biston because I've been developing him for ships, and he just kind of passively got to 5-star Gear 7 incidentally. And he's got Frenzy and can remove turn meter. So he's kind of a cool little character. And then of course, Kylo, he's pretty durable, even at 6-star or Gear 6, 5-star. He's got the stun. So the stun's kind of a control piece, and since this is a weak team, I need as much control as possible. So I've got stun with Emperor Palpatine and him, and then of course Darth Vader under EP is pretty good. So it's kind of like good, good, better, and best, I guess, with Jedi being best. And then for defense, again, these are the 3 teams. I've got my Imperial Troopers, and then I don't have a full 5 yet, so I'm throwing in just a Royal Guard, which is terrible. He's like Gear 4, which is not good, but it's a filler team at this point. The first 3 are pretty good, and then the Rebel team is actually decent. They've got a tank, Daze, a couple damage dealers, a cleanser, and a dispeller, so it's kind of got a little of everything. Not a bad team. And then, of course, the top team, the Bounty Hunters, they're actually pretty good. Pretty solid team. Dengar, even at a low star in gear, is solid. And then the squishier characters like Greedo and Cad Bane are actually 7 stars, Gear 7 and 8. So Cad Bane actually is my heaviest hitter right now. Pretty crazy. And anytime I see them throw up a team like Jedi or something, where it's kind of their filler Jedi, like, maybe they've got Barriss or maybe they've got Jedi Consular or whatever, and they're just throwing in kind of a filler Jedi team. I definitely taken this team against it because Cad Bane can, stun and stuff like that and does more damage. And so anyway, that's basically my layout for now. I don't have a whole lot set up. And when I go into the raids, I have my arena team, which is my primary team. Take that in. Actually got 3.5 million on the Rancor with my arena team, and I haven't gone yet with the Zeta yet to see how much further along. But for me, 3.5 million in Rancor is, it's impressive because, there's not a whole lot I'm able to do there.
It's actually better than I've ever gotten in a raid that I can recall, or at least the H-Pit. So that's pretty surprising. Did notice that one of my guild mates is in the house, so I guess I got to throw a couple shout outs to Zero Regrets, my guild. What's up, guys? I think Ivan the Terrible, Napus, and Rita's squad, or I guess also known as Darth Vegas now. What's up, guys? Let's see here. Who else got good questions? Never did answer my question. The North remembers. Oh no, and I don't want to upset the North. That's my crew up there. It's the vastest of all the kingdoms in the 7 kingdoms. So that's one you want to remember. So hopefully you can pop your question back up there for me, and I can redeem myself in your eyes because I do know nothing, Jon Snow. Let's see here. They're moving by a little faster. SureShot new haircut. I guess kind of a different fade. It depends on what my barber wants to go with at that time. I kind of go in there and give him some free reign, what my hair's wanting to do at that time. But today it was just a matter of, hey, rolled out of bed and it looked halfway decent, wet down a few little flyaways, and there you go. Let's see here. Nope, didn't read your comment either. They were moving by for a while there as we were doing the explanation of the Scissorman account up to this point. So if you want to resubmit those questions, we'll be getting back and forth to them here. Let's see what else is going on in the meantime. Oh yeah, somebody did ask what your opinion was on the Zalp or Emperor Palpatine nerf. I know there's a little bit of a controversy over that. I know that's a big thing about removing turn meter for him, and it kind of makes him not as BA as he used to be. What's the specific reason behind that?
Well, so what happened is they brought out Darth Malak. He's supposed to be super overpowered, and of course, he's solid. He's a really great addition. I love him. His first special and his unique both do insane damage. His first special, I've gotten to hit over 35,000. I got like a 37,000 hit on his first special. His second, I've had it go over 60,000. I mean, it's their health. It's 100% of their health, so it's crazy amounts of damage. He's super durable, super tanky. He's kind of like Scion. Darth Scion. He's like a really solid Sith tank. I would put him on equal playing grounds, different but equal with Scion because they both do something different that's very cool. Right. And his basics just kind of stupid, unless you get some modifiers within the game, and then when certain things occur, he ends up putting buff immunity with his basic, which is cool. But aside from that, his second dispels, which is nice when they have Sith Trooper. For the most part, I actually love Malak. I'm using him at 5 stars. I haven't been falling out of the top 10 at all. In fact, I for the first 4 days of having Malak, I got bumped once. I had to do 1 battle a day to get back to first. That's it. I haven't had that in forever. So I love Malak, but a lot of people were trying to use Emperor Palpatine, Sith Assassin, and kind of, have a team that's all about speed and turn meter and be the counter. And it's a great counter. In fact, a lot of people used it, although I can say a number of people tried to use that counter against my team and struggled greatly with that team. And so it wasn't foolproof, which means that it was a solid counter, but it should probably stick around. But because it existed, and especially in the highest level, there was a lot of people that had Malak that weren't real happy with how he was performing. And I think they really take the pulse of the community as to see who's happy and not. And I mean, if these people who have Malak aren't happy, they kind of want to do something to make them happier. I wasn't outspoken about it. I could care less. I thought Malak was fine. And I thought having counters like Emperor Palpatine counters are fine. Everybody should be paper
counters,
paper, rock, scissors, right? That's what they said they wanted. And so I was like, yeah, cool. That's fine. If somebody wants to change their arena team to climb through me, that's great. we need that. In fact, I had a couple of teams I was switching back and forth on as well during the Darth Revan because I didn't have the fastest Darth Revan for a long time. So, but anyway, they're going to change it. And when you're going against him, other Sith won't be able to gain that bonus turn meter, which is Sith Assassin and Emperor Palpatine's kind of bread and butter. So it eliminates all that bonus turn meter and only against Sith. So it was really targeted towards a specific counter. And anytime you take a counter and specifically target it, the community's not going to be happy. And I think it was silly. I, again, could care less either way. I don't use that counter, so I'm like, whatever. But I do kind of feel bad for those people who were using it because they were specifically targeting the counter. And that's just bad. In my opinion, it's bad business to take something, build it, give it to the community, and then modify things that people have invested in when they didn't know those were things that they needed to know about. I mean, you're changing forever the context of certain characters in the game and their interaction. That's a mess when people have invested into that Gear 12, Gear 12 Plus. The Gear 12 Plus, especially because there were people who spent money on that Gear 12 Plus just to make their Sith Assassin fastest, just so they could counter, and then they find out that the counter's going to go away here in the next day or two. So.
Well, I noticed that off the bat, too. When Darth Revan came out, there was 2 new pieces of gear that suddenly popped up as well, which threw me through a loop because I'm not really the gear crunch is always so amazing for me. And then suddenly to see 2 new pieces of gear that were suddenly only available for 500 crystals or whatever, it was just kind of like, oh, really, guys? Come on. You have so much gear in the game already. Why couldn't you just change up the amount that or the types that go for that particular character instead of having to add more on? And I kind of think that, too, a different interesting point you might have brought up is when you first got Malak that you were that high in the arena at first. Is it safe to say, not only with how hard it was to get him, I attempted that event a few different times, and good grief. But
you didn't get your Malak.
No, I didn't get my Malak. I thought it was funny, too, when it popped up in my account. It showed that, hey, the new Malak event's up. And I went and looked at it. It says, you do not have the 2 characters required. So I couldn't even look at the event to see what it actually was. It just had a little block over it, kind of like I wasn't level 85 yet or whatever. I was just like, oh. But I would say it's almost safe to say that there's probably a few people who ended up getting him, but probably didn't know how to use him correctly just because, the old credit card took care of that as opposed to their actual skill level. So that's probably why you had a little bit of a lull there for a little bit as people were trying to figure out how to actually use them initially.
Well, that's a good... This is a good one. From 8 to 5. I went from 8 to 5. My theory is a little bit different than a lot of other people. I don't care. Even my free-to-play account, I don't care. If this happens, you do 5 battles, you get nothing, and that's frustrating. If I had 8, there's a chance I could have got nothing. So, and that's actually more angering. And I remember when I first started, it was 3. You got 3, and you couldn't refresh. Refresh didn't exist at the very beginning, and it was 3. And so you got your 3 attempts, have a nice life, move on. And I remember doing First Order TIE Pilot, and it took me 8 months to get that one character because he had a single hard node and it was 3 attempts a day period, move on, have a nice life. And it was like 8 months. And I was like, this is horrible. And so when people started talking about like, all these other characters taking them 3 months and it's ridiculous, I'm like, 3 months is so awesome. Right. There was a couple of characters and they've added nodes for certain characters and moved them and put them into shipments and all sorts of crazy stuff over the years. So, 5 is a nice happy medium. 3 wasn't enough. 8, I can see possibly speeding up, the progression a little faster than they were hoping for. Would I want them to keep it at 8? Well, of course. That's what they gave us. That's what I want. I'm like everybody else. I want 8.
More now.
But it's their game. They changed it. Am I going to, knock my milk over because of it? No, I'm not. I'm not gonna care about it. It's not the end of the world, and I'm not too concerned about it. So that's kind of my take on the 8 to 5. Did I want them to change it? Heck no. But am I gonna be worried about it? No, not at all.
Mm-hmm. I even remember the time when I first started, it was still at that level 3, but I think they just introduced refreshes for crystals at that point. So around that time too, I was hulking out on Baze Malbus. So all the crystals that I actually had at that point was actually going to the shard shop or the or the shipments to actually buy them at that point, 3 at a time. I think it was 3 shards for 300 at that point, something like that. So whenever I could afford that, I was popping in there and getting those. But it was incredibly frustrating to sit there and use my only 3 attempts with so many refreshes or whatever, and then only end up getting 1 shard if I was lucky for him. So that was definitely a struggle, and I think that he was somewhere in the 6-month range for me to actually get fully to 7 stars. So the struggle was real, and it still is. Let's see. I think you went ahead and answered that question for that guy before it disappeared on me. They're not flying, but they're they're popping up here and there. Let's see here.
You want to know the crazy thing? I have it set to where they can't comment but once every 60 seconds. I've got it on slow mode because I'm always by myself normally. And this is slow mode, dude.
We're just being long-winded today, I guess. Let's see here.
When are we not long-winded?
Good point. Let's be honest here. Let's be honest. Anyways, let's see here. Any more ats? Any more ats? Oh, are you serious? There's only a lull. Let's see here. I have to go back down to the newest two, I guess. At SureShot, question. You said your answer was mod suggestions for Phoenix, but I would like to change my question. All right, moving on. I need a 5th Jedi, but I need to 7-star them quick. 5 weeks or less. Thoughts? You'll take that one.
Well, hopefully you've got Kanan, right? Hopefully you focused on Kanan and Ezra for your Phoenix. And so hopefully you have those two at 7-star. And then, of course, I'm hoping that you kind of in forethought have been working on Old Ben and working on either Jolie or Bastilashan. I almost forgot her name. There's only 2 of them in the game. And so hopefully those have been done. But my 5th, what I had to use, because honestly, I was in the same boat. I was like, I got 4 at 7-star and only 1 that I don't. And so I that means Yoda's coming in 5 weeks. Wow, I didn't even realize that. I got to get him 6. I got to get him 6 and 7 stars as well, which means I got to get a character to 7 stars because I only have 4 at 7.
They just had CLS, didn't they?
Yeah. But we had Yoda already recently, so I can't believe that would be coming up in 5 weeks. But anyway, so Jedi Consular, he has a ship. He's a Jedi. He's Galactic Republic. There is some new synergy with Galactic Republic coming. Well, both with ships is great, and with that, is he optimal? No, but he works. Also, Ahsoka is getting a rework, right? And so she's like ridiculously easy to farm up to 7 stars. She's actually a relatively easy gear. And now with her synergy, you're going to eventually get General Kenobi. She's going to work really well underneath him or beside him. And so Ahsoka's a really great opportunity to get to 7 stars. And so hopefully that gives you the base who you should be already done with, like Ezra and Kanan. And then, hopefully you've been looking at Old Ben and, looking at maybe Jedi Consular. Jedi Consular has 3 nodes. And he's also in like 2 other places. He's got like 5 places that he shows up in. So if you can't get him 7-star, there is definitely an issue.
Not saying there's anything against your skill level or anything like that. Just saying it should be relatively easy. Let's see. Dylan H was asking, given some talk from devs about the direction ideas for this year, i.e. less marquee events, more reworks, would you keep farming towards Malak, Darth Revan, or focus on upcoming reworks?
Well, you really can't focus on Malak until you get Darth Revan, so you need to focus on that Darth Revan, but that assumes that you have Revan first. I think Revan is more relevant for 2 reasons. One, the characters are slightly easier to get, and the second is that team in all the raids do significantly more damage than the Darth Revan team in raids. And you got to remember the raids are what spoon feeds you all your gear and currency and all of that good stuff. So definitely that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Here you go, little birdies. We're feeding you. The question, I think, I don't know, gets asked every time, but it's relevant, pertinent. Would I ever shave my beard? The question is yes, and I have before. This is the 2nd iteration, but in shaving it, no, I don't lose my powers. I'm Super Saiyan in that sense. I go to the next level. So when I get defeated, like when my fear gets defeated, it comes back, but it comes back stronger. So the thoughts cross my mind about every 6 months or so. Would it be nice to just go ahead and restart it again, since it takes me about a year and a half to get to this level, and I've probably had it at this length now for a little over 2 years now. So the thoughts cross my mind. I like to change things up. The hair, it goes through different variations. So depending on what it feels like, it's been laying good lately. I haven't had to do a whole lot of blow dryer work with it. So I think I'll stick with it for a little while until it starts to annoy me again, or gets chopped off in some horrible boating accident when I lose all my firearms. So it's a possibility. Let's see here. Anybody else? Since more of us free-to-play players are going to need compensation crystal and ship arena, can you please give a few thoughts how to beat MILF without MILF?
Yeah, the Millennium Falcon is a really amazing team. and or ship for their teams. It's very difficult, but it's actually pretty easy to beat. Once the Millennium Falcon dies, it all kind of falls apart for the opponent. And so you want, there's a few ships that are faster than the Millennium Falcon, and you want to be able to go first and use all of your abilities. And so Poe Dameron's and the Imperial TIE Fighter. The Imperial TIE Fighter, you want faster than Poe. And so you need to really pay attention to how you're gearing your characters and how you're modding them, because the more mods and the more gear you put, the faster they get. But you need them both in the 90s, 190 plus speed, because you want them to all take their turn, so that way you can win. Way it works is Imperial TIE Fighter goes, he does his special, he gets his foresight up, and he does all protection off of the Millennium Falcon. And then Poe Dameron goes next, and he shoots with his special, which is a guaranteed kill, and then Millennium Falcon's dead. Then it's just a normal battle, and they're down one. And I've used that since the inception to show people, who didn't have Millennium Falcon, kind of how to beat, that particular character. So that's how I would do it. That's how I've done it in the past. You do have to focus on the Imperial TIE Fighter, in that there are some people that use Kylo Ren's, what the heck is it called? The silencer or whatever. As Cubs fan Han would call it, the TIE slicer, the TIE silencer. Yeah, the TIE silencer is a pretty amazing ship, but I don't like that one as my option, because it doesn't provide the consistency of damage you're needing. And so I would prefer the Imperial TIE Fighter and Poe, and you can really look at their speeds and determine, which one's faster, and make sure that the Imperial TIE Fighter goes first. It does require that your characters be a minimum of gear 11. I don't even think you can get the speeds up there until they're gear 11 minimum, and preferably on both of those characters, you're going to be gear 12. Because you're going to want to really max out those abilities. You need them in the 190s in speed. I think 197, 196 is kind of like where you're going to want to land them. So yeah, for sure.
In all things, speed is key, and especially gear 12, because that just kind of pushes everything all up to that next level.
By the way, did you notice this team was, Zeta and gear 12, and I'm like gear 10 and gear 9.
Casually, you're wiping the floor with them.
Yeah, and we're like talking, and I'm not even thinking. I'm just like, whoop, bop, doop, doo, 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 doo. This Zeta on her makes her just walk through lots of other teams, including bounty hunters in First Order, Zetaed bounty hunters, Zetaed First Order, Zetaed Emperor Palpatine.
It's whole team stability, or strengthening. Special shout out to TB12 as GOAT, just sent $1.99 to you. Hope everything is okay with you. Glad you're back.
Me too.
We're all glad he's back. Question. Let's see here. Message. What Galactic Republic character do you think will be reworked next? Galactic Republic character. I think they're all getting it.
I think there's not a whole lot of Galactic Republic. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 rows of Galactic Republic, but a lot of them have been touched and reworked kind of things. So I think it's going to be more of the Jedi faction, crazy enough. I think we're going to see like Kit Fisto with a minor touch up, and, like Plo Koon and some of those guys, Eth, Koth, because they're just totally unusable for the most part. I know Plo Koon's got some, I've been piping Plo Koon for years, so he actually has some very, very specific synergistic abilities, and I hope they don't change him. In fact, his ship, when it went to 2.0, they eliminated one of his ship's abilities to speed up, and it really ticked me off, because that was like one of the best early on ships before ships 2.0 to really compete. It was a secret that I used, but I actually put a video out, so it wasn't a secret. But I mean, a lot of people didn't do it or use it.
It's a privileged secret.
And then when they went to ships 2.0, they got rid of his speed up ability in ships, which was kind of sad.
Always parting is such sweet sorrow.
Yeah.
Let's see, and another one. How often do you think Malak event will come around? That's he's somewhere in the 6-month range, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna have to wait 6 to 8 months for him. I always say that. I'm thinking like 6 to 8 months, and then of course out of nowhere they bring him back after like 3 or 4 months. It's like, oh, thanks a lot. So, you know,
Yeah,
I think
there, Chewbacca and Jedi Knight Reverend were kind of flip flopping back and forth. They had a couple extra events. I was just like, where the heck did that come from?
yeah, I think they're going to definitely bring it back sooner than I would like. I think 6 months is, it used to be an event would come around once every 6 months, and then they dropped that to once every 3 months, except for the like legendary style events, which were like 4 months or so. So there was a little bit more time on the like legendaries. For everyone else's sake, I hope it comes back in 3 to 4 months. But sometimes when you get something good like this, it's kind of a reward for being where you're at. And on my free-to-play account, I don't have it, and I'm fine with that. On my main account, I have it, and I'm happy. But I think that they should have a cadence, whatever that is, whether it's every 3 months or 6 months or whatever, announce it and stick to your cadence. I'm really frustrated with the fact they say, you know, it's not coming back for 6 months, and then everybody spends a bunch of money to get it, and then it comes back in 3 months, and they're like, well, why did I even spend the money to get it? Because I could have just waited. And so that's where some of the wiser people are like, just do free to play, just take your time and wait, you know? So there's some truth to that.
A little bit of truth. Let's see here. Matthew Garcia was going after Jolie, but I'm not sure if 5 weeks is enough time. I think that all depends on where your Jolie is at, because I do remember him being a little bit of a pain in farming, but not nearly as bad as, like, say, the vets or anything like that. So I would say with 5 weeks with a lot of focused farming, it's a possibility. If you said he was on 5-star, I believe, it's a possibility to get 2 extras in that time.
Big Country Mags, what's up, fellow Navy brother? Hoo-yah! Yeah, he started last July and loves the free-to-play point of view. I'm glad that I'm able to provide that point of view, and I thought this series would be fun. It's actually, I'm having way more fun on my alt account than on my main account, so surprisingly enough.
Mm-hmm. We got another request to show you Grand Arena, which you already did initially, but if you want, we can go probably take a look at that again, see if anybody's...
I also haven't shown my ships update, and I have Phantom now with her reinforcement completely maxed out.
Ooh.
Now check this out. Hold on. Check the triple mollywop too. I got their uniques maxed out. Their uniques are maxed out. Check this out. No! Brow! Brow! Boom!
Near-death experience. Ooh, there it is. You had to think about it for a second. Wait. Oh, yep, I'm dead. Who else? What do you got for me? I'm sure you got lots of things. Thor and Tor. I don't know why. They just seem like a fun name to try and pronounce right now. Hi. Oh, your Jolie is 3-star. Yeah, 5 weeks. No, probably not going to happen.
No.
Thanks for specifying, because yes, that's unfortunate, but no. Don't think 5 weeks is enough to do much for any character at that point. And as far as people would say back and forth with the 8 versus 5 attempts, I do believe that and obviously this could just be me, sometimes a little bit more cynical about it, but I did notice a drop rate decrease with 8 to 5. So, in my opinion, I think it's as we all know, they are manipulated to a certain extent. However you want to go about that, it's been proven. But how badly they've done it at this point, I don't know. All I know is I've been getting skunked a lot more. I've been sitting at 80 shards for the final star for Jango Fett for quite a while, and since the Chewbacca event, obviously they dropped it, and even now I think they dropped it again, because I'm still at it went from 82 to 88 in the last 2 weeks. It's kind of ridiculous.
Pling, pling, pling. I haven't gone in here in a while. You can tell I haven't cared about the bots very much, but I finally went in and 3-starred it.
Get that out of the way. Swat. Did you win your first Grand Arena rounds? Yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, round 1 I won. Round 2 I won. Round 3 I hopefully will win through efficiency.
Yeah. Mine seems to go usually the first round loss, second 2 wins, or the first and second round wins, and then the last round loss. But I haven't got a clean sweep yet in my personal account. That's been a little bit of a sore spot for me, but it all depends, because usually I get 2 guys that are pretty formidable. There's been a couple of giveaways where the guy just does lets the teams be set for him, and then I just kind of walk through all that, and he makes no attempts. So I guess that means it was just kind of a nicer way of giving me the round at that point. But so far, haven't had 3 wins in my Grand Arena yet. Hit second place quite a bit, so that's kind of where I think I'm actually getting a little bit edgy about it. Let's see. Big Country Mags at Warrior. Following your pillars has gotten me to 1.4 million GP. All right.
That is really good for how short he's been playing. That's crazy.
Yeah, well done. Matthew Bradford asked that. SureShot. Thoughts on EP nerf? I mean, Malak rework. Doesn't matter to me at this point because I'm not going to see Malak for at least another, well, year at this point because I might be at that level when Jedi Knight Revan comes around again from my Old Republic. I'm getting pretty close. I've got Jolie, Basilisk Shan, 7-starred, and Zated, but I think right now I'm still working on Zalbar mission and T3M3, and they're sitting in the 3 and 4-star range right now, so...
So really quick, Ryan wants to know what energies should he be spending his crystals on. First off, I don't know how many crystals you're earning, so I'll prioritize it for you. And then I want to do this ships battle because I want to show you how I overcome the Houndstooth #1 every day. When I go and fight for #1, Cromanda is always in first place. He's got a super strong team. It's one of the highest GP, and he's got a 6-star Houndstooth with a, I think, Gear 11. 3-star Gear 11 Bosk. So his Bosk is nice. He's he's got his ability maxed out. This one, all that's completely maxed out for his ability because he took it to Gear 11. So I want to show that ability, but for Ryan, so energies are prioritized by efficiency. The first is your main crystals here. You get 50, 50, and 50 on the refresh. It's really important you do all 3 of those every day. You're given 150 crystals a day by the game minimum. So there's zero excuse for anyone not doing these. This is how you're going to get all your stars for all your characters and also get your gear, especially the lower end gear from Gear 7 and below. A lot of the Gear 8 and above you're going to get from raids and things like that. And you're going to purchase it from, the stores as you get currency. But those are absolutely necessary. The second one that's actually more important, in my opinion, than anything is Cantina. There's so many Cantina characters that you have to farm that you absolutely need to do 1 minimum if you can afford it in crystals of these. If you can get more, then great. Mods are important, but mod energy refreshes very, very fast. So you can get lots of mods through doing mod battles with your mod energy throughout the day. There's refreshes. They give you extra free energy. Same thing with ships. The ship energy, they give you a bunch and it refreshes. And then they give you some additional refreshes of ship energy. So those 2 are newer energies and are kind of lesser priority. The regular 50, 50, and 50, and then the Cantina. If you're doing well and you're in like the top 50 of both, kind of like me, and you're getting a lot more crystals, then you could dig 1 or 2 refreshes into mod energy, and you could do like 1 in ships. But really, Cantina is kind of #1 priority, but it's expensive. 100 per refresh is hard to come by. So do regular energy and then that. But I wanted to show this battle. I'm in 2nd place. And he's in 3rd place. And so I'm not going to bump him or anything. So I don't even have to worry about payout and all that. He's got to pay out a couple hours before me. But I want to show how I kind of overcome the Houndstooth, because a lot of people ask me that. How, Warrior, do you, without using the Houndstooth, beat the Houndstooth, especially free to play? Like, how do you do it? And I told you all before I started playing my alt account, Geos, and it will work all the way up until in game, and then you're going to have a Houndstooth yourself and eventually Millennium Falcon. But my team can actually destroy the Houndstooth right now, even with a Gear 11 6-star Houndstooth. I mean, let's look at...
This one interests me particularly as well.
Yeah, and so let's look at this. I mean, look at this. 70,000 health, almost 50,000 protection. That's 120,000 health and protection, with regenerating health and protection character and all the extra tenacity and everything, because he has his crew power completely maxed out. And that's the best ability in the entire thing. So let's go ahead and just go in here and crush it. Now watch, I'm going to lose. This is going to be hilarious. I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to crush it. They're like, wow, you died.
Beat me to it. And Matthew Bradford, no offense taken whatsoever. I just thought it was a funny little slip up on the name there. Not a big deal at all. In fact, it kind of reminded me of a grandmother of mine that would always call anybody whose name was Matthew is always Matthew. And I was like, Gesundheit. Let's see here. Did I say which energies you use the crystals for? We're asking for story time. Got any funny childhood stories? Love the dart in your brother's chest story. Story time, story time.
Okay, you guys ready for story time? We're gonna go into story time in just a second. Let me concentrate on the ships really quick, or I'm gonna lose the battle and it'll be my own fault. So I'm gonna try to stun Biggs because he has retribution. Plus he has taunt, which means I get to target whichever tank I want. This is actually a disservice to have multiple tanks. Hound's Tooth is sufficient at this level. You don't need another tank. I did get the stun, and now I can chew through this team.
Now I can just beat him up. Interesting side note about stories. Back in the day with my brothers, I've got two of them, there was always some kind of fight going on, and it was usually between me and my older brother.
Did you miss it? Did you miss it? My Geos have a chance to call to assist, right? 35% unless they're Geos, and then it's 70%. Mm-hmm. And I did my special with, and then they called to assist, and it smoked him. He's gone. Both tanks are gone. That's what I'm talking about, you guys. Geos are 50K on a basic. What the? This is so awesome. I love my Geos. This is how the battles go. And this is why I don't drop, because people fight me and they do this on their own. The AI plays this team insanely good. Mm-hmm. I don't think people realize the power of the Geos. But by the way,
Your Honor, I rest my case.
Yeah. So they, I told everyone, like, I kind of do know a little bit what I'm talking about when it comes to ships. So they're working, apparently, according to a leak from them, talking to a bunch of people at the celebration, that they're going to rework the Geos, and they said, gear them up, gear them up. Hold on a second. I sneeze. Almost sneezed. Oh my gosh, that was going to be insane.
I was bracing for the impact.
I know. I don't have my mute readily available, so that would have been terrible. But they said, have them geared up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm going to have future meta already on my alt account. Oh, I hope they're right. I hope that the Geos, because they're like, max out your Geos. And someone said, are you going to spend Omegas on your Geos? Like, your Geos are just for ships. Do you really care about ships that much that you're going to skip your Empire for them? And like, Gear 11, but check this out. Omega all. Oh, good grief. I know. He's all Omega'd out. Look at this. All Omega'd out. Mm-hmm. And almost Omega'd out. I've got to do a couple more, this one and that one. But yes, ships, man, is like first every day. Why wouldn't I take 400 crystals every day? There's so much synergy with these ships. And I didn't get to show you my ships or my raid characters. So let's go into raid characters really quick. Let's scroll down. I'm trying to also I got Jyn Erso unlocked. I'm working on a few of these other guys. Here we go. Han Solo, 144 of 145. Isn't that the way of the world? Isn't that what happens to everyone when you...
One more raid and... Oh, never mind.
Exactly. And then General Kenobi, I get to start loving on Carbantes soon. I'm at 114 of 145. I'm going to love that. Zalbar, I haven't even really tried, and I've gotten 20 of 25. I hear he's insane even at low stars. I know he's insane at maxed out. I have him on my main account. But I mean, low star level, I hear he's just super durable. And so, yeah, got quite a few.
Apologies to Darth Skywalker. Throw that at me one more time. I'll specifically look for your name. Didn't realize it passed by 3 different times, so I'll keep an eye out for it.
What? You mean we were talking and didn't notice something? Shut up, warrior. Trying to get my question answered. All right. Got this. And I get my Omega and I get my box because I'm level 85. We hit level 85. Let's go look at my ships because I think a lot of people are probably interested to see my ships, what's in my favorites, yada, yada, yada. So obviously Chimera is what I'm using. The Chimera is a backfall. It's kind of a universal ship you can use with any lineup. It's just phenomenal at 5 stars. You don't even need the 6th and 7th star, really. He's got the best ultimate in that it just destroys a ship. If you're going against an opponent's Houndstooth and you're struggling, you can use his ultimate to kill the Houndstooth. In fact, that's how I overcame the Houndstooth before my Geos were so overpowered. And so I was like, I would just bide my time, try to survive and then kill him with the ultimate. And that was working. But now I don't even need to wait. My ships just destroy the Houndstooth. Biggs, of course, I'm working on his ship. Wedge, I'm working on his ship. Both of those Rebel ships are phenomenal. And Rebel ships are necessary in the game, not only for the Chimera event, but also because that's the current meta. And it will always be meta for Grand Arena Territory Wars because the synergy that's there. Biston's U-Wing, of course, is a part of that, and I needed another ship, so I've been farming both of the characters and the ship. That's a nightmare, though. Houndstooth, I would love to say I've got more development going into it, but my character and ship are 71 and 72 respectively gear level-wise. Gear, really low gear. I mean, my Houndstooth, remember his was 120,000 health and protection? Look at mine.
Oh my.
For 48,000. I don't even have as much total health and protection as he had on protection alone. So I'm like, this isn't not going to survive, not in my leaderboard. It's just too wimpy. So eventually it will get there. I thought, as soon as I have it, I'll get to put it in there. And then, no, not working. So those are my, Rebel. Yeah, Rebel specifically. Now, I am focused on still farming the 7th star for Ghost and Phantom. You can see I'm still spending. I'm 77 of 100 on Ghost, 56 of 100 on Phantom. And look at the reinforcement ability. As soon as I was able to get this to level 85, I did the reinforcement. This is the first reinforcement I did to max. Why? It's the best reinforcement in the game. Cassian's is number 2. And then you can see I've got a number of them in blue, a number of reinforcements in blue.
A little bit of work being done there.
Yeah, some of them, the blue ability, if I end up down the road deciding to use them. I do have Geospies maxed out, and this is why. I don't know if you guys understand the viability of this, but if I wasn't able to beat their Houndstooth, and they might continue to develop their Houndstooth to the point that my Geos can no longer chew through the Houndstooth. And people watching probably say, good on you for having an underdeveloped Houndstooth you can beat. Yay! What's your real plan when they get so powerful, Gear 12 double Zated 7 stars?
Really
this is it right here. The Geos still have an answer, and it's his reinforcement, which I've maxed out. So he enters battle. He grants taunt to the enemy that he's coming in on, which if Houndstooth is taunting, it's going to give him a red taunt because he's taunting, so I have to target him. But then it also targets a random enemy without taunt for 2 turns. This means if they are running the Houndstooth and Biggs or some other stupid thing, you get to taunt, you get to attack their damage dealer. So this is super important because it allows for you to work around the Houndstooth. And as long as you're using the Chimera, you'll be able to kill one of their attackers. You'll be able to kill their Biggs because he'll be taunting. You can attack him. And then you can ultimate their Houndstooth. This is the number 1 workaround for the Houndstooth. And so I highly recommend people max out the Geospy. This was the 2nd ability I maxed out on reinforcements. So pretty important. And when we come here, just so you guys know, my Chimera is not really that developed. It's not level 85, and the abilities are at basically level 3. I've got one at 4, but they're all basically at 3. I've got more invested in my Akbar ship Home 1 because I was using that early on, and it was really great for the regeneration of health and protection for my Rebel ships, when I was using Rebels early on. But I have since, formally moved on to just a straight Geo team. So
But no worries, girl,
yeah.
You'll be a woman soon.
So Geospy, his unique is number 1 most important. They're always going to be most important. The unique is when it comes to these characters because he shares all of this with all the other Geos. And with him, he shares 30% offense with every Geo ally. And the Starfighter has 30% critical damage while stealth and 25% evasion while out of stealth. And when he takes damage, him and Soldier gain stealth for 1 turn, making it really hard to hit those 2. So max that out. I still have this because he gets 25 bonus damage on his basic. This is nutty. Yeah, and you saw he hit for 50k on his basic, and I can bump that up. Bump those numbers up, and I will.
Potential still.
And then of course this ability's good. It's damage, and I want the damage, right? This is his surprise shot. That's the triple mollywop shot. So you do want more damage, but because it's the triple mollywop, I'm calling in assists. It can be doing less damage right now than his basic because his basic will be called to assist. So this will be the next one that you do after the unique. Well, moving on to the next one, Sunfac. Of course, Sunfac is important. I actually want to max this out as well. I just don't have the 500,000 ship currency to do it, but it removes additional turn meter. So this is really good. And it can't be evaded or resisted. And if you have Hound's Tooth in your front three and then have this come out of it, you can get double stuns, an initial stun plus stun someone else. So this is a really good ability. Definitely like him, and I could put him in my back as like one of my first, but I'm just going, pure Geos. Again, the same thing after the unique is maxed. And by the way, the unique is really good. Again, it gives 30% critical avoidance. It gives Sunfac 30% turn meter and 60% defense and taunt at the end of that enemy's turn when hit. So, he gets really durable, but then his basic, he's going to be called to assist. Look at that, 15% damage on his basic and then 30% damage on his basic. Super insane. This one eventually will get maxed out. It's important. I got to get him to gear 11, which I'm almost there, and then I'll do the damage, and then stun can't be resisted. This is super important because his reinforcement stun can't be resisted already, but his regular stun can be until you max this out. So I'm going to go and do prime target next and get it to 7 and then 8.
That would be for the hardest to gear Geonosian too, on top of all that.
He's the tank, so he's definitely the hardest of the three. And then of course Geo Soldier, same thing. I got his unique maxed out, and so they get 30% accuracy. So they're hitting for sure now, and 35% chance to assist, dealing 20% less damage whenever an ally uses an ability during their turn. This chance though is doubled for Separatists, so it's a 70% chance to assist. So pretty awesome. 35 to 70% chance to assist. This one's good because it goes up damage, and then eventually it's a lot of offense. It's not damage. It's actually 25% offense, which is huge. And the evasion duration goes up by 1. That is massive. I really want that one, but the next one to get maxed out.
Those pesky times you throw your best shot at him and then whiff.
Yep, but this one's more important. It does more damage. It's his basic, so when he's called to assist, he's going to do more damage, and it adds an additional 5% of that removal of turn meter, which is doubled against buffed enemies. You're almost always hitting buffed enemies, so that's 40% turn meter removal. That's on his basic. His basic does 40% turn meter removal. If that was a character in regular arena, everybody would be crying out, this is unfair. Yeah. But this is ships, and you got to know your ships. This is amazing. So I love my 3 Geos. They're doing well. Ghost is doing okay. I've got the abilities to 4 on the characters and to 6 on the actual ship, and 6 on the ship, and then 6 on the characters except for Sabine, which I'm farming Sabine. You saw that. I'm trying to take her up finally and finish her off. I really want to do that. Some of the other ships I'm kind of focused on because you got to have not just your 5 light side, but you got to have 5 dark side. My other 2 dark side is Slave 1 and TIE Advanced. I just got Slave 1 to 5-star, and then TIE Advanced is almost 5-star. And then I also have TIE Silencer at 5-star, and the Imperial TIE Fighter, when I see him, I buy some of his shards as well. The Imperial TIE Fighter is pretty good. Lando's Millennium Falcon, I have it. I've been getting it actually, and the characters through that, what do you call it? The cargo, whatever. I can do that because I have, I can do that because of Ghost and Phantom and Slave 1. Those 3 are cargo ships, and I'm able to do the event with them, and they've been giving me Lando's ship and stuff. So
once I get my Hound's Tooth to 7-star, I should be able to get the final note on that one.
Yeah. And then I've made some mistakes even in my free-to-play account. I thought I was going to use Umbaran Starfighter as one of my 5 or 6 light side ships because he's so good on my main account. And then I started developing him. I'm like, what am I doing? I got to be more hyper-focused, and I abandoned him for now. So even with a perfect account, it's not perfect. And Clone Sergeant, I started developing him, and then I went away from him. No, I'm not going to worry about him. I gave up on 5s. I'm going to give up on Clone Sergeant. And then bottom line, it's I don't have enough rebels or light side to finish the 6th star of some of the events. I have to have a 5th light side. Well, this guy's the closest. He's already at 4 stars, gear 6, and the ship's at 4 stars. And I only need 55 more shards, and I can get the shards readily available. So I'm well, shoot, I'm going to have to develop him. So I started working on Clone Sergeant. again, to get his ship. Plus, it's actually a really good ship as well. So you can see some of my draw. In my free-to-play, it's like up to you. You get to decide which ships you're developing or not developing.
On the clone note that actually would go into Darth Skywalker's question was, he has his clones at gear 12, and is there going to be any love for them in the rework? I have heard some people talking about that and kind of hopeful with Galactic Republic being looked at again, but it kind of makes you wonder because, yeah, it seems like they are a real speed crazy team, and I've seen some good uses for them here and there, but is that something that you think they're actually going to get a rework, or that's something they talked about?
Yeah, I think that the clones will see a couple of new characters added, and then I think they're going to see some touch-ups. I don't think you're going to see what's called a rework. A rework is like flat out totally reworking the kit. A touch-up is where they kind of just add a piece here and add a little piece there, and they're like little tweaks to the kit. A touch-up or the tweaks to the kit, I can see very much so that being a possibility. And then they're going to add a couple of new guys into the thing. So I think that's pretty awesome. So, yeah.
So if you're gear 12, you'll be good and ready for them.
Yep.
Man, you asked me earlier if I wanted a pillow to stand on during this, and I'm actually starting to regret my no decision now. Like, nah, my shoes are good enough. I'll be all right. No, I'm standing on a pillow is actually kind of a good idea. Let's see. Is there anybody else that could be about ready to be passed up here? Not going to say that name, but funny. At Me and Warrior, we had 2 legendary characters at the end of a KOTOR year. We are gone for a new cycle like this with the prelogy characters. So any ideas on the legendary we could have? I don't know, I guess with Malak and all that, there's already a lot going on, but I can't imagine they're going to be throwing something else out again when they've already got Jedi Knight Revan, Darth Revan, Malak. You know, it's pretty huge at that point. I think they're going to be stuck on the KOTOR idea for a while. At least in the meta. Let's see, anybody else? As I sit and do my little dance. My question dance.
All right. Well, we've been going for over an hour and 15 minutes. I want to give everybody a last opportunity to jump in and ask a question before it can be to SureShot or me. I am going to try to obviously maintain my once a week live stream and try and throw out a few other videos. So I did miss last week. I apologize for missing last week, but I haven't missed since or prior to, and I shouldn't miss since. I should be able to continue my once a week live stream at a minimum. So hopefully you really enjoyed this. If you have any questions though, hit me up now before we kind of kick it down. I think I've done all my dailies and all of that. So pretty good there. And I just want to give you guys that last opportunity to ask some questions. Let's see. Do you think that there will be a legendary event that requires Sith characters? I'm not sure, but I think there will be a ships event that requires Sith ships. Gotta say that slow. Because those ships are the last ones to be required to be farmed. There's a lot of people still farming those ships. And so I think that there's going to be an event for those because they haven't been talking about it. So you probably think, oh, they're not doing it. And then people are going to ignore it. And then all of a sudden there'll be some event come out of left field. And you're like, why are they doing that event? That doesn't even make sense with the Clone Wars, but it will make sense in the fact that they want to make sure they catch some people off guard. So yeah, for sure. I think that.
Andrew popped in a second ago or a while ago to say hi. I just didn't get around to it. So hi, Andrew.
Can your Geos 3-star Infus Nest node? I haven't tried. I don't even know where the Infus Nest node is. Let me look.
Infus Nest is in chips,
yeah. Is it in 5?
It is in 5.
So I have to finish this one, and I don't have enough energy. But okay,
I was farming her for a while. It was one of my only 3.
We're not leaving. We're not leaving. Everybody, stay here. Let's go ahead and let's do one more battle or a couple more battles, and let's see where they're at. I got to be honest. These levels are definitely far more difficult and based off of having a totally maxed out fleet. So I don't know where we'll be at. The last time I went here, I got totally smoked. So.
It looks like Decent Rob wanted me to tell Warrior just how proud Force Canada is of you. You're growing into a marvelous young man.
Triple mollywop, here we go.
Matt Garcia definitely doesn't want us to forget Warrior story time. If we can probably squeeze something in there for that.
Yeah, we got to do story time. We'll end it with story time. I can't even believe I almost forgot that. We definitely can't forget that.
Yeah. Let's see anybody else. Quick story from my past. my older brother would always like tell me just how much stronger he was than me and how he'd always beat me in a fight when we were wee little boys or whatever. There was a couple of pretty funny situations where he would literally get done telling me that, and I would sit there and be all mad with clenched fists, acting like that's not possible, no way, and he'd just be like, oh yeah, and he'd flinch at me or whatever. And there's a couple of good times where literally that flinch ended up causing more damage to myself than him actually doing anything, because I would literally try and jump away from him. One time I remember specifically there was a metal railing in our upper level of our house that I was standing right beside, and he did that to me, and I ran square into that sucker and hit my hip so hard I thought I was just going to fall over and die at that point. But one of the best times was when he would tell me yet again that he could do such things, and he flinched at me yet again, and I took off to run away from him and slipped on a shoe and went face first right down a flight of stairs to the point where I thought I was going to knock myself out. So interestingly enough, that was actually the case a few times, but I remember vividly the day that we were having a good old knockdown, drag-out brawl. He had me pinned to the ground, and I think it was either around the time I was hitting a growth spurt or something, I'm not sure, but I remember the look on his face when he had my arms pinned back like this, and I just probably went, beat red in the face, and I slowly started to pick him up off of me and literally threw him back and laid a beating on him that I don't think he would soon forget, because honestly, past that point, I don't remember another actual fist fight with him after that. I think that was kind of when he realized, like, oh, I think I've been saying it for too many years now, it's finally going to come back to bite me, so never mind, truce.
So I don't think you guys have seen this yet. This level, like I said, I don't think I could beat it, but I was going to try it. This level is designed for having a capital ship that has 7 stars, not 5. They can call in 7 ships. I can call in less. And all their ships are equivalent to gear 12. And all my characters are gear 11. So I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I said that, but I wanted to give it a good old college try just to see if I could knock it out. And no, he got two ultimates off on me, 2 ultimates, and I never
lasted long enough for that to cool down.
Yeah, so pretty crazy. So yeah, anyway, there you go. Not so much. You can see it dwindled off. I mean, as soon as I hit Scion's node, I got 1 star, and then I haven't been able to beat this one. Everything's maxed out. Everything's equivalent to gear 12. Their speeds, 7 star, everything like that. And I'm not quite there yet, so I can't do level 5 hard or even finish the level 4. I got to get my capital ship I got to get more abilities. Like my abilities are only at 3 on my capital ship. I also got to get my ships finished off. They're not maxed out yet. And then I got to get my guys to gear 12. Once I get them to gear 12, I think my Geos can do it by themselves, actually, as long as they're, maxed out. But I've got to be able to have some solid reinforcements that aren't like gear 8 characters, which is exactly what's happening, my reinforcement coming in. Okay, so we're going to end this with story time. And the story comes out of my childhood. And, a lot of individuals who grew up in the 80s, the thing was you had a bike, and you would ride your bike to your friends, and you'd spend all day on your bike, and basically your mom would say, just make sure you're home before dark or home before dinner. If you want dinner, you got to be home by dinner, and dinner's at 6 or dinner's at 7, and you had to be home by then. If you weren't, you just didn't get fed. And so you knew you had to eat at a certain time, but you were kind of free reign. Yeah, but the deal was, you can hop on your bike and just go. You could just, no cell phones, no attachments, no buzzers, nothing like that. You could just go and play all day, hang out with your friends. And so near my house, we would ride up to, the hills, kind of north of town. And those hills are a lot of fun, but they're really steep and stuff. And there's a lot of really fun things you can do. They're basically at the foothills of what we call the Book Cliffs. And the Book Cliffs are a very large mountain, kind of, I don't know if you want to call it a mountain range, but basically that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And at the bottom, there's kind of these hills of dirt that are part of the mountain range, because it kind of starts to hill off and then goes flat. And in those hills, this is some of the best mountain biking and some of the best motor biking in the world. In fact, if you look up Grand Junction motorbike or look up like Mountain Biking USA or anything like that, Fruita and Grand Junction are some of the highest rated places in the world. So for anyone that loves, biking and all that kind of stuff, they come to our area. So these are great opportunities and hills. Long story short, let's get back to the story. I'm a kid. I got a little bike. I'm not anything special. I'm just a kid riding like a BMX bike. Wasn't even a mountain bike.
Murray or Huffy, probably.
Yeah, it was probably a Huffy. Probably parted out. My brother used to work on all the bikes, and when something would break, we'd get a piece and kind of put it together. But he was with his two older friends, and so it was him, his older friends, and he's my older brother. And so we are we're going up to these mountains, and we're like, these hills, and we're like riding them. And of course, I'm the younger person. I'm like 2 and 3 years younger than all of them. And I want to showcase that I'm this like, warrior, that I'm this guy that can like handle being with the big boys. And they ride down this hill. It's like a 65-degree gradient. So it's steep. I don't know if you understand 65 degrees, but if you do, you'll understand this should have never been accomplished or attempted. And at
Practically looking down at the ground at that
Yep.
point.
And it was about 210 feet from top to bottom. So it was a really long run. It was about 40 meters or so of a run. And so 65 degrees, 40 meters, 40, 50 meters down. And then at the bottom, there was a lip. And their idea was to like run it and jump. And of course, in my heart, my heart's palpitating and my brain's going, don't do it, just leave. Tell him you got to like poop your pants or something and leave, just get out of there, go. And I was
My
like,
chain came off. Sorry, guys.
yeah, but as pride would have it, pride's like, you're not going anywhere, you're staying here. And so one of the older boys, Darren, attempted it, and he crashed bad. In fact, I think he broke something, but he didn't find out that he broke something until later on, like a couple of days later, because he kept hurting, the persistent pain, and he eventually went to the doctor. So this was like bad idea number one, and someone already attempted it, and it was terrible. By the way, Ryrock's asking, is it better than Moab in Utah? No, it's actually comparable to Moab. In fact, Moab is just as great in my opinion. I equally love Moab. In fact, Jeep Safari is going on this weekend. If anyone's from Moab, what's up, Jeep Safari? Used to do that a ton. Super fun times over there.
Not that far away from us either.
No, it's like an hour away. So we love Moab, but still, I'm like, okay. And they're like, you should try it, of course, because they're like, little kid, he's an idiot. We want to see him get hurt. And my brother's like kind of whispering to me. He's like, hey, dude, I don't think you should do this. And I'm like, no, I can do it. Pride's like, you got this. And I'm like, all right, I got this. We're going to do this.
Dude, you all but just pushed me down the hill.
Yeah. So I walk up the hill. It takes me like 15 minutes to drag my bike up this 65-degree gradient. And the dirt is like soft. So you're sinking in, and I'm like dragging and using my bike as a crutch to like try and get up. And I'm like working my way up. It takes me 15, 20 minutes to get to the top of this hill. I get to the top. I get on my bike. I look down. And I'm like, oh, holy hell, I'm going to die. And they're like, come on, do it. Peer pressure as you would have it. And I'm like, oh, man, we're in trouble. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm like, I'm going to do it. And I started going down. My pedals were going so fast that I couldn't even put my feet on my pedals. Because back then it didn't have the like pedals that stayed where you wanted them and pedal. It was just like they were forced spinning, and I'm just like, my feet are out to the side, and I'm just like, wee, going down this 65-degree gradient, and whap, I hit that and I catch air. And they are like, oh my gosh, he did it. I can see it. And I'm like, for a moment, I'm like, pointing at him like, you see me? What's up? I'm the man. Yo, I'm younger than you all, and I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden, halfway through, it's like, starts to turn, boom, hit the ground, and just pieces of me and the bike go everywhere, and seriously hurt myself. And I'm like, oh man, and I'm like so embarrassed, right? Because I'm like, I just totally crashed, and I'm like, okay. I'm fine. So I'm lying to them. I'm like, I'm fine. And they're like, yeah, man, I can't believe that. That was awesome that you tried it. But then they were laughing too, and I was embarrassed, and I was like, no, man, I know I can do this. I know I can do it. And my brother's like, dude, don't. Seriously, like, you just almost killed yourself. You caught like 20 feet of air and you almost died. Like, this has got to stop. At this point, he's actually concerned for my well-being. And I'm like,
take your licks and go home.
yeah. And then of course pride's like, you've got this. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this again. And they're like, no. And then of course they were like, yes. His friends, his older buddies were like, yeah, do it. You can do it. Cause they know I'm going to die. And they're like, we got to watch this. And so luckily my childhood wasn't recorded like everybody else's is, but I crawled my butt back up there. The bike, the front tire was warped. It was like, it wasn't even like solid anymore, which I should have known. And I crawl all the way up to the top. It takes me like 25 minutes to get to the top because I am like hurting. And my brother's like yelling like, it's okay, dude. You don't have to do it. Like, we get it. You're the man kind of thing, and trying to help me out. And so I start going down the hill again, and I was just like, I just want to survive this. Let me just survive it in front of the guys and we'll go home. And I go down the hill, same thing. Pedals are going too fast. I can't put my feet on the pedals. My feet are out like this. And I'm just going down, and it's like, because of the front wheels, like, warped from the first land. And I'm heading down, and I hit that jump, and the tire just turns sideways when I hit the jump, and it flips, and I just do barrels Indo, 10 feet in the air and just flip, and I land on my back and slide on my back, and my bike is now broken. Like the front tire is like bent in half sideways wise, and I get myself up, and my brother's like, let's go. He grabs my bike. He's like, see you later, guys. And he picks me up, puts me under his, arm, and he like carries me, and I'm just like, I'm fine. I can do it again. And so luckily my brother was with me, and he took me out of there. But man, I tell you what, I was totally wrecked, and pride got the best of me that day. I'm sure a lot of you guys have had those moments where pride lies to you and tells you can do something you shouldn't. Please, please, please listen to that quiet, still voice that says, don't, because that quiet, still voice is trying to keep you alive. Mm-hmm. As always, guys, I appreciate you guys joining me and SureShot. I had a really fun time doing the Scissorman account and getting you guys up to date and showing you everything, kind of where we're at. We'll be here again next week, so really excited about that. I am going to try to get some more content out this week. Lots of news, lots of things that have happened. I really wish I would have made some videos on some of the news. If I'd had some time, that'd have been great. So we are going to definitely be getting out of here, but I, again, appreciate everything everybody does. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. And as always, keep your gaming on.
This was SureShot.
Warrior out.